Oh, okay, okay.
Alright, it's about to start. And then double check audio. It should be good.
There it goes. It popped up.
Yeah, it should be good to go now. Someone, was monitor the comment board. Alright. And then audio should be good, I think.
Yep, audio's good.
Alright. Con. Seems to be caught up. I think, is the camera, the angle good? Everybody, you got Osh?
Yeah, we all in. We all in.
Yep, that works. Alright, Shalom. All praise to the Most High. Yahweh,
Ba'ashem, Yahushai,
Ba'ashem,
Rakah, Kodash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles, better known as the Great Millstone. Honors, blessings, and salutations to the and actually teaching the doctrine as well as living it. And then death to 2/3 of you Israelites as well, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians. This title, or this video, or sit down, what do you want to call it, epistle, is a titled Live Your Talk. Okay, and it's just more, an observation from seeing, I guess you could say a reflection, so like, kind of like a reflection, seeing everything that's been going on, from here, just kind of looking back, and a lot of these guys who have either come into this thing and fallen away, or have gone and come, or just doing their own thing. A lot of them aren't really to be bigger organizations, 5,000 plus strong, multi-million-dollar church, mega church, basically. You've seen it from the Comforter. Now Nate's in the hot seat. And you're going to see all these guys, get in the hot seat. Muhammad was in the hot seat for the news because, what they were saying about Edomites. But he, anyway, the reflection is just to be more observant and to actually live what you're teaching, what you're speaking. Okay, and that's kind of the focus there. So we'll pull out some precepts.
I got a quick one.
Come on.
This is James 4:17. It says, "Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin."
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. If you know to do good, basically
If you don't have anything, because someone's got a First Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 6 and 7. Actually, started verse 4.
All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4. Knowing, brethren, beloved, your election of Yahweh Shai, for our gospel came not unto you in word only, but also in power, and in the Holy Spirit, and in much assurance, as ye know what manner of men we are among you for your sake.
Right, we were among you for your sake, because the apostles were visiting necessity. And it's still not a necessity, but it is a visiting one another. That's a recognition that, hey, look, you get out there and just visit. But the key thing here I want to highlight on is this isn't in word only, but also in power. And power comes with action. Some sort of action. Power brings action. Okay? And also in the spirit of things. Because everything that we're doing is a rehearsal, and it's in the spirit. It's a rehearsal, and it's in faith. It's in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And we believe that spirit to be with the elders and apostles, because they haven't ceased. They haven't stopped. The scripture tells you, as is the leader, so are the people. And it makes a lot of sense why so many people flock to these other groups that have fallen away, put their hand to the plow, and look back. Why they have so many people following them, because it's like, well, you did this, so they all kind of overlook each other's shortcomings rather than calling each other on it and just being honest and open upfront about it and just admitting and confessing these things. See, so they don't really live their talk. And they'll talk about the law, But then what happens when the law gets them in trouble, they start retracting.
If I might
Mhm.
say,
Yep.
they don't have liberty like the the men of Great Millstone have liberty because we ultimately believe in Yahweh Shem Shai the way we're supposed to, the way the scriptures say. They want to base their salvation on the law, the law, the law. So there's no liberty in that. So therefore, they're just like these reservoir dogs that call themselves Christians that try to blackmail each other or have all this dirty laundry that they can just air out whenever it's convenient for them.
Right.
All right. So therefore, further expounding on what the brother just said.
So like it.
I like it.
I got a quick precept. This is 1 John 3:18. It says, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth."
Yep. Yeah, indeed is an action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not in word or in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And so the examples that you're supposed to put down are a living example, of how you actually walk in this truth. Now, a younger brother might see a certain brother in particular, and they or an elder or an apostle or somebody, and you're naturally drawn to that guy for whatever reason. You just like that man. That's fine. But you still don't know that brother, that man, and you might, be influenced like, oh, this brother's always on fire, so then you go out in the world and you trying to always have that energy. Well, first of all, that's not your spirit. Okay, first of all, that's not your spirit. You're like forcing the course of the river, okay, and you're quenching your own spirit. So that's an off balance already. But then come to find out, like if you ever met that brother in person, you'd be like, damn, this brother's kind of chill, like, you'd be like, oh shit, I thought you would have handled this differently. You'd be like, no, brother, the scriptures clearly tell you to handle this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll kind of bug yourself out because you're idolizing somebody. And that's where you can't do that. Don't idolize people. Yeah, you're gonna have your favorite speakers. You like the way the information is presented. Of course, when they're always young in this thing, it's always just that passion. Now that's a clear indicator too, because we're kind of talking about like certain guys that come in, they lack passion. You kind of got to go through that. Like if you're really about something, like you're gonna be turned on, you're gonna be on fire for it. You're gonna be like amped up all the time, and that's good. But if you're really sincere about this thing, then the humility starts coming into play, and that's where weed out sheet and they take off running. And they try to go and find a group that will accept these tolerances. But when you're building a very precise anything, it has to be exact specs. The tolerances are very plus or minus like 0.001 type of thing. When you get into places like you buy certain things from China, a lot of things are good, but you can buy some things that are just like, man, what the hell is this? And it's like, oh, this is total crap.
Edomites in America was buying those for their children.
Yeah.
And it came out that majority of those from China had fucking high levels of mercury in them. And them groups was doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is crazy because so they're assembling it and selling it and handling it just so that you can handle it.
And give it to your children.
Your children.
Mm-hmm.
It's very calculated wickedness, man. It's crazy.
This is Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
Yeah, and do it then, man. So you got a lot of guys that they'll take what the elders and apostles have learned or taught, and then they'll go and they'll reinvent their own thing. One thing that I believe as Apostle Gabar said a long time ago is that you can only tell a lie if you know the truth. Now, Great Millstone has been at the forefront through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and a lot of the either signs or just prayers, curses, and things like that have been shared freely without charge. You didn't have to pay for them. What happened is, and I knew it was a matter of time when when the variation of it. They'll put in a higher, they'll put in, God, they'll put it. So it's like, look, you guys are altering something that pre-existed before you. How are you just going to come through and say, no, this is the truth now? It's like you have a house that's completely built, And then they're like, you know, that's not carpet, that's the ceiling. Flip this shit around. You
Hey,
know?
going to Picasso paintings, etching his name out and putting yours at the
Right.
bottom.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Pistachio.
See, I put the little star up there. Pistachio.
Pistachio stars.
Doing reverse iconoclasm.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really it's theft
Picasso
and it's
black
it's slander. You know, it's taking away, it's defaming. You know, which we're supposed to be defamed, but you're defaming the spirit. You know, and you're not giving credit where it's due.
Verse 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
Right, right. So that's the foundation. Okay, that's Yahweh Shai, which a lot of you guys, you don't even deal with Yahweh Shai. You don't exalt Him. Okay, because you can't get to the Most High unless you go through Yahweh Shai. Okay, you can't bring your offering. You cannot take it to the Most High Yahweh. Your offering goes to Yahweh Shai. He's the ark. He's everything. So you got guys saying like, "Oh, you're supposed to worship Yahweh Shai?" Yeah,
Damn right.
because you can't worship the Most High. You're so dirty. You're so filthy that He's the mediator.
Yep.
You guys that think you can just be wearing sunglasses and lining your shit up and
That's crazy because that's become a normality.
right.
Just edging, getting edge ups and stuff like that's like when you know brothers that's woke up around the time of the apostles getting on the internet, 2007, 2007 to 12, like edge ups and all that was like heavily pushed. Like no, that's against. You ain't supposed to do that. And brothers actually had fear of that. You know what I'm saying? Some brothers, it took longer or whatnot. That's always something Jake has dealt with, but that was known that like, no, that's no go. But now it's like a free fall to just do whatever the hell you want to, you know?
Right. And you see these a lot of these guys that, they talk and you wonder why, no one's gotten on them or gets on them.
Right.
It's because the leadership is just as wicked.
Yeah.
And you see that every time. It's like, oh, so-and-so exposes so-and-so, agree with and all this and that, and, or, I just had to take the low road. No, man. All for the sake of what? Because you really think Yahweh Shai is dealing with these guys, man? They don't even like saying the name Yahweh Shai. They don't even teach the name Yahweh Shai, man. Now, maybe they do now behind closed doors, but openly, and publicly like you're supposed to, announce it without fear, without shame or embarrassment, they deny that.
The scriptures say, I confess my Savior openly.
Openly.
And why would you not? If that's your power source,
Yeah, why the hell wouldn't? But you see these guys probably got jobs where they bootlick and kiss ass for their companies. Oh, I love this company. Well, this is what I do, and I love this company. It's like, man, you guys suck, man. This is the best company you could work for, and you got guys that don't and won't promote, the truth of this thing, man. So they're not. You got a lot of people that will refuse to, basically refuse life. That's pretty much what it comes down to. They're them refusing life. Come,
This is Sirach 10:2. It says, "As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city?"
And so are the people. When you look at America, matter of fact, you had a Donald Trump that dressed up in a I think a Mayor Giuliani that was in the high heels and a dress or whatever, and then he walked past Trump, and Trump was acting like he was a woman and kissed him or whatever. As the ruler of the people is, so are those under him. All right, it's known that Obama was with homosexuality. All right, and under his authority or whatever, that was pushed in the forefront. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you have here in America, man. So as the people is, so is as the ruler of the people is, so is the people, man. All right.
And that goes along with Nate in his congregation. That's the main reason. You know what I'm saying? Because as Nate is,
because that guy that killed, as it's being reported, the guy that killed that Joy Morgan, he was a Nigerian. And
Mm.
where's Nate going to gather more people? He's traveling to make a proselyte twofold more the child of hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah,
out
exactly.
there in Africa, man, they're about killing people.
Mm.
So she probably did something that, you know, in his culture, I do not like that.
Mm.
You do not do this. You know, he's like, the law says, and he put her to death. And he, you know, he's probably the type that cut her up into 12 parts and shipped her off to 12 different villages. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is biblical. This is a good thing, you know? I'm being a little facetious or whatever, but hey, look, man, like, I can only imagine,
Mhm.
you know, because that's the extreme that the law goes to. And that's the extreme that we know of Nate in the IUIC, is this claiming of extreme practice. And they call us extremists, but really it's guys like you that don't know no balance. You never talk about it. You don't see them on the street, you know, giving people points basically like, hey, no, you got that right. No, that's
Mhm.
absolutely correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
You never see them giving people points, man. Because it's always about them. It's about IUIC and Christ.
Mm.
Christ. You know?
And if I can say real quick, they're opening up the door for Satan to come in and deem us extremists, man, and terrorists, you know? Because now you got them pushing us on the media now. You know, CBS, InfoWars, you know, CNN, right? And what they're going to do? They're going to demonize us, man. You know, but it's
Yeah.
all according to prophecy.
Yeah, you know, and that stuff backfires on them all the time. You know, because Alex Jones, he was on that Joe Rogan show, basically coming out of the closet. I don't know if your brother saw that clip, but he's basically saying he was gay. You know,
Who did?
Alex Jones.
I didn't see
I
that.
didn't watch that.
Yeah, we'll check it's a quick little clip.
Yeah, okay.
But the dude was just being weird, man. You know, they're over there, you know, smoking weed in the studio and stuff. Now that's okay, I guess. But what we're saying about what's going to happen to people, what's coming to happen, we're not going to do it. Okay? We can do it. All right? But when time comes and we're changed and all that, look, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to be a weapon for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. But really, I mean, the chariots are going to do a lot of that work. You know?
Yeah, as the
And
scripture says.
as the scriptures say, and then 2/3 of these people, you know, and then if we're given that spiritual power, that changing of a body, hell yeah. But us right now, as who are we ain't doing nothing. All we're telling you is what's going to happen.
Hey, we're as Jeremiah 16 says, we're just fishing right now. Yeah, this is the time when we're simply relaying a message that was written and prophesied of thousands of years before we was even thought of inside these current bodies. You know what I'm saying? But the time is gonna come if we those men,
Yep.
when we'll become hunters.
Yeah, I mean, Yahweh Shai said it himself that he's going to give us crowns, and we're going to rule with the rod of iron to bash people open. That sounds like brutality, but it's not going to be in our time while you're in power. It's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, that's the reality. Can we finish up the Thessalonians real quick?
All right, yep. This is 1 Thessalonians 1:6. And ye became followers of us and of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, having received the word in much affliction with joy of the Holy Spirit, so that ye were in samples to all that
So
believe.
that we were,
So that ye,
verse 7?
So that you would
Really? Let me see. Do you guys open it?
No.
Oh, okay. Can you, oh, kind of.
Yeah.
Mine says we.
yeah.
Can you pull it through?
So
Go
that,
ahead.
kind, so that ye were in samples to all that believe in Macedonia and Achaia.
Mhm.
For from you sounded out the word of the Lord, that not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but also in every place your faith to Godward is spread abroad, so that ye so that we need not to speak anything, for they themselves show us what manner of entering and we had unto you, and how you turned to the Most High from idols to serve the living and true power.
Come. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look. See. So that's a clerical error right there. That's a clerical error.
No, first Thessalonians
Right here.
1.
1 and 7.
Huh. So that you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, look, that's
It
the
says
correct
we, it says we.
See?
Mine says so
And
that
that,
ye.
and that, it says, what's yours saying?
Ye.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
See, and that right there can offset everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that right there can offset everything. Okay, so the point being, that the elders, the apostles, they've lived their talk. They've lived their talk, and us following them in these footsteps. You know, you can't go wrong. You know, so that by this thing, okay, again, you know, receiving the word, but in much affliction, with joy of the Spirit, because you're gonna get, you know, ridiculed. You're gonna realize, like, okay, you know, certain maybe relationships got to get ended. You know, depending on your situation, you know, it's different for everyone. Maybe some, you know, will be strengthened. You know, because there's some brothers in this thing that have biological relatives that have come over with them, and you got others where like whole households were divided, as the scriptures say. You know, and who knows what turmoil that would bring. But you got to make this decision of, you know, what do? Do you appease your flesh, or you appease the spirit, right? So that we were examples to all that believe in these places. You see? So living that talk, and it produces a duplication that people see. It's like, you know, okay, well, if that's what they're saying and they're living it, then when you go and you visit and you see them, like, damn, they're actually living it. It's not. This isn't a game. It's not a show. And that's why we always tell people this isn't a game. This is real life.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of you guys, you know, you do your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, they do their own thing. They're like, you know, oh, I got my fringes on my T-shirt. You know.
They try to find a new way to invent the wheel. Man.
Right.
It's already, you know,
Right.
it's already been perfected. As
And
it is.
there's reasons why we don't wear fringes out in the road openly and publicly, man.
Mhm.
People already know, like, see, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, man. The stigma that's coming with it, a lot of you guys really don't want to carry that. A lot of these guys are going to drop their cross.
Yeah.
They're not going to keep carrying that cross. You're going to drop it and run, man.
We're gonna get offended.
Yep, you're going to get offended. Like, no, man, those are the camps. You know, that's the camps in One West. I don't believe. Well, look, all of this came out of One West, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
The Spirit moved it through certain men that Edom, the so-called white man, wants to discredit the whole line of everything. You know, they want to discredit the whole line of everything.
To the source.
Right. Okay, we'll take it back to Nat Turner. Was Nat Turner wrong for what he was?
Nah, man.
Now, in the
Man.
Spirit, it wasn't time for that.
No.
That was that Sakari spirit. Okay, it wasn't time for that. Okay, but he wasn't wrong for you know, feeling the way he felt or knowing what he knew. But for trying to bring the kingdom and take the kingdom by himself, yeah, you went off, bro. That wasn't right. You know, but that moments like that happened in history because it showed the Spirit was amping up. The Spirit was amping up.
Pain.
That's Judah rising up as a young lion. That's that spirit of the Judah. Just, you know, they get in there and they get all active, you know, as they say, and then, you know, kill a couple people, and then the activity dies down, and they do this fluctuating. As an old lion, they crouch back down.
Precept real quick, because you mentioned a lot of you guys are going to drop their cross.
Right.
And, you know, when Esau comes down with that martial law and as they've deemed pretty much condemning so-called Jews, you know, that's a hate speech now. You know what I'm saying? You can talk about anybody but so-called Jews. That's considered hate speech now. So it's just going to get worse. And as it gets worse, these guys that don't have liberty, being that they don't preach and accept Yahweh Shema Shai, they don't proclaim that name and the doctrine that comes along with it. When those things come to pass, martial law, so on and so forth, a lot of guys are just going to throw it like they're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as the prophet always said. So this is Acts 17. This is an example. Acts 18:1. It says, after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome and came unto them. So here it is, Claudius, he commanded that all the Jews depart from Rome. Now why did he command that? Because the word was being preached in Rome, you know, and it was causing matter of fact, this book, the book of Romans was directed to Israelites in Rome. But there's certain cities where the word is so powerful that Esau, that's like a major hub for Edomites. So it's like you preaching the word is the worst thing on earth, and like we cannot have that. You know what I'm saying? So all y'all gotta fucking get up out of here. So when stuff like that starts happening here in America, you know, a lot of these guys that's not really rooted is gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know?
The guys that will wear fringes out in public but won't speak about Yahweh Shai out in public.
Right.
As
Yeah,
backwards
that's
as that
crazy.
is. As backwards as that is, you know.
Yeah.
Can I read this?
Yep.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 13. I'm reading 13 and 14. It says, Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so hath the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel.
Right. So in the ancient times, okay, the priests, you know, they lived off the altar. You know, the Levitical priesthood was fed, basically survived off of, you know, everyone else bringing their sacrifices, you know, their tithes, 10% of their yield, and everything else, that because they weren't given a portion of land. Okay, so so that's right. But you had examples. Who were the two sons?
Eli's sons.
Hophni
and Phinehas. They were.
I'll find it.
I can't remember if it was Phineas, but so there was Eli, the sons of Eli. The sons of Eli. He had two sons who, what they were doing at the altar, where they were abusing the altar. They weren't living by the doctrine. They weren't living by the law. They were sleeping with the women. They were, you know, just taking bribes. They were doing everything incorrupt. So they weren't living the talk. You see? Go ahead.
This is and the brothers is right. It's Hophni and Phinehas.
Okay.
It says I'm trying to see exactly what you point. What I pulled up is 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 34 is coming to the point. And this shall be a sign unto thee that shall come upon thy two sons, on Hophni and on Phinehas. In one day they shall die, both of them. So that was the judgment that was
verse 12. Read
to verse 12. Okay. So 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 12. Now the sons of Eli were sons of Belial that knew not the Lord. And the priest's custom with the people was that when any man offered sacrifice, the priest's servant came while the flesh was in seething with the flesh hook of 3 teeth in his hand. So like it's kind of hard to see. And he stuck in and he stuck it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. All that the fish hook brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came thither. Also before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came and said to the man that sacrificed, Give flesh to roast for the priest, for he will not have sodden flesh of thee, but raw. And if any man said unto him, Let them not fail to burn the fat presently, and then take as much as thy soul desireth, then he would answer him, Nay, but thou shalt give it me now, and if not, I will take it by force. Wherefore the sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for men abhorred the offering of the Lord.
They put a stain on the Lord's name, man.
Because the leadership was being wicked, man. Just like in IUIC, look at Bishop Kanai. And before Bishop, there was some other guy there before Bishop Kanai too. Where'd that guy go? Why are they having so much problems with their leadership? And then again, when these people fall away and they do all these videos exposing them, what do they say? Oh yeah, you know, I was biting my tongue on this and that. You know, it's like, man, you didn't say anything at that time. You didn't speak up at that time, but you're saying something now because your feelings are hurt. You're not associated with it. And say, you know, I still want them. You know, if they would just repent and get right, you know, I'd love to come back. This and that. Man, but then you guys, you're not even teaching. You're not even teaching on the streets no more. And that's one thing about IUIC. The scriptures tell you you're supposed to be in season and out of season, and they love to make fun of that and say what snow dummies. You know, yeah, we don't go out in the winter; it's too cold. They won't make their body a living sacrifice. But man, as soon as that Passover comes around, oh, they're making all types of videos.
Super Israelite.
Make sure you know you get your orders in and you register and you know.
Get your new garment.
Get your new garment, man. Come on,
service.
man. So it's all. So you turn the Lord's Passover into a disdain where people got to come and man. Some people were telling stories like, you know, I can't afford the garment. You know, is it okay if I make my own? And got, you know, one of the leaders would tell them like, yeah, that's okay. You know, just don't say nothing to no one. You know, don't tell no one you made your own type of thing. It's that bad, man. To where, but they have multi-millions of dollars, and their congregation's still in debt. They should all have credit scores of 750 or higher, man.
Are they still in that building with the electric?
With the exposed
rat nest of electricity that was right there? And they're making all that money, and they got you motherfuckers sitting in that bum shack.
There's electrocution in the fucking room.
Yeah, that nigga Nate, man. Wasn't it last year they did that commercial for the Passover on BET?
Oh man,
So,
yeah.
They had a commercial for the
It's
for
like
the
2 or 3 years. It was
Passover,
probably last year before
Maybe
last.
2 or 3 years.
which is a holy ceremony,
On
and
BET.
you're advertising it.
You're right, on black entertainment.
And we caught it up here in Washington.
Yeah,
And that shit's in New York.
Yeah, because it was BET.
and you're gonna buy a jet. You want to buy a jet, but you can't fix your congregation's place of gathering. Like that's a bad leader. You know, he's not of the care of the people. He's of the care of himself.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's the biggest mistake is they're looking for quantity, not quality. And Nate brags about 5,000 strong. We got more people than anyone else. Yeah, okay, so you got 5,000 people, and if they all, you know, make X amount of money, and they're all giving 10%, like you're sitting on a lot of money, man.
Hey, bro. Hey, it brings me back to that the scene from 300.
Mm.
Is that all the Athenians? How many? What do your people do? You have warriors or whatever? It's like, no.
I'm a
He
farmer.
said, Spartans, what's your profession?
Right.
They all like, whoa! Hey, the men of the Lord, men of war, man.
Yeah.
We with it, man.
Yeah, spiritual soldiers, man. You know, there's no women in the congregation of the 300 Spartans.
No.
They didn't take no women with them.
Mm-mm.
They didn't even want defect. If it was about numbers, they would have took the defective goat dude.
Yeah, they
You
would.
know, they would have took the little guy that gave up the goat pass.
No, it's Quasimodo.
Yeah, the walking it looked like a walking cyst.
Nate's over there bragging about numbers. Yeah, 2/3 is a bigger number than 1/3.
Yeah,
Good for you.
You should be happy, yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah, fine.
Uh,
Go ahead, I can.
This is
precepts.
I just want to read this real quick because it goes with the point. This is 1 Samuel chapter 2, jumping down to verse 22. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he said unto them, Why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people.
Right. Now you see, when you go to IUIC, what's one of the things that you're pretty much promised?
A
A woman.
Why?
You know? The whore. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're like,
Babylonian
and
daughter of Sarah.
it's appeasing to the woman because it's like the woman kind of has like a choice, basically. Like the guy can say, hey, this or that, but the woman ultimately, you know, kind of has like a choice. That's the way that they've presented it in their videos. So it's like a dating site,
Yeah.
you know, for
Swipe right.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
swipe right and keep swiping.
Mm.
Go ahead.
It says,
Swiping at the door.
It says, "Nay, my sons, for it is no good report I hear, or that I hear, ye make the Lord's people to transgress."
Yeah, you see, you make the Lord's people to transgress, man. So
Because
Isaiah,
if they see Hophni and Phinehas doing that, the people gonna be like, okay, Hophni and Phinehas is laying with these women, and they're going off, they're
that's
committing
what the
adultery,
sacrifices.
and the Lord they ain't died yet. Eli ain't said nothing, so they gonna think it's cool for them to do that.
And that's why Eli was judged off of that too.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, he got judged for not judging his sons.
You see? So, look, man, Nate is going to get you all killed. You're all going to get killed because you're not living your talk, man. Go ahead.
This is verse 25. 1 Samuel
That's
2
pretty
and
much the
25.
content.
Oh, just this last verse. It says, "If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against the Lord, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because the Lord would slay them." So that's the point. Man. If you're sinning against the Lord, who's going to be able to step in for you, man? You know?
Yeah, that's it. That's a wrap.
Hey, if I could say real quick, the brother Tawad just made a good point that Eli was supposed to put them to death, you know, because it was going off. And when you look that word Belial up in that scripture, it says worthless, you know. So sons, worthless sons, man. And we know what the law says, man. If you got a worthless son, you know, he's supposed to be brought out to the congregation and stoned, man.
Right now, is that what you're supposed to do in this day and age? No, that's not what you do.
Just let him go.
Yeah,
He
you gotta let.
he that is just, let him be just.
Yeah.
He that is filthy, let him be filthy still.
So what's greater, the law, or was written right according to the Spirit? What's right? What do you do, man? You see, you got that Nigerian over there killing women, and he's out there trying to recruit more of these people that come from a culture where it's okay to kill people, man. They eat people over there, man. Not saying all of them, but you go to Africa and you start messing with these gorillas and these warmongers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are you gonna get, man? But you know what? I was thinking about this. There's no money out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Nate's going out there for money, like he's going out to like either the best parts or he's dealing with like General Butt Naked. You remember that General Butt Naked?
That's the nigga who was accountable with. He was
Yeah,
an accountable.
yeah. But you know what? He's got access to money.
Yeah, he do.
He's got that. So Nate wants some of that dirty money, and he's gonna clean this guy up. And hey, look, just give us 10%. You know, you keep, you know, and we're gonna get you on the right track of business. And you know, we're gonna supplement that. We're gonna pull you away from that and get you going in this direction.
He wants some of them blood diamonds that rat that got that transplant, that penis transplant.
Oh yeah, died.
He
Yeah.
was embezzling diamonds from over in Africa and shit. That's how he made his fortune, from diamonds, blood diamonds. So hey, didn't Nate say had that video shine bright like a diamond?
Yep. Go ahead, Again.
Well, can I read this real quick about Eli? 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 12. It says, "In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made."
I may say this. This really illustrates the point of the whole topic of the sit down, man, being a doer of the word. Because Eli knew better,
Mm-hmm.
and he was not being a doer of the word. So the Most High judged him for that, man.
Yep. Because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not.
See? So
Hey.
it's on him.
As the scriptures say, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him that is sin.
Yeah. The person who started off with In fact, we got this. This is James 1:22. It says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in the glass. For he beholdeth himself, and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was." But whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deeds.
There you go. I mean, that's plain.
Yeah, it's plain. You don't need to break none of that down.
You know what?
Tell
I
you.
got this. I got this article from Birmingham Live. Okay, and the title is, and this came out on March 8th of this year. It says MP reads out the names of every woman killed by men in the UK over the past year. And I was like, okay, well, let me just get curious here real quick. And guess whose name is on this list? Joy Morgan. So they want to say, well, it's not confirmed whether or not she's dead or not. Well, I mean, you got the MP over here reading out the names of everyone who's been killed by men over the past year. And guess what? I wouldn't be surprised if more end up missing by the hands of these guys in the IUIC, because the law, you know? So don't be surprised.
This isn't the first horror story you've heard from people dealing with the IUIC and how they treat women.
Women abductions.
Yeah, getting kidnapped and getting stalked and, you know what I'm saying, getting threatened and so on and so forth, man. This isn't the first time you've heard something like this. This is the first time you've heard of it being actual murder, but this isn't the first time you've heard about something like this, and yet Great Millstone is the ones that have the stigma on them about being, you know, this kind of hoodlum, when really it's that most beloved camp of the world, the IUIC, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a member of Parliament reading off the names, so does Parliament not have their facts straight on who's killed or not killed?
Right.
I mean, come on now, man. So now you're telling me Parliament's lying?
Right.
Because that's what they're going to say. They're lying. They're liars.
Fake news.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, well, you know, they'll be like, see, that's the devil anyway. That's the devil anyway. You know, they liars. But you guys never fess up to anything, man. So whatever.
Wasn't it isn't this the second murder? That one dude brought home the tranny or whatever?
No, he
tried to kill her.
shot her in the face. Shot it in the face.
Yeah, they swept that under the rug. You know, I guess it's okay to deal with trannies if you're in the IUIC. You know, that's the mess. You see the message you send, just like we're reading about it. You send a message when you don't punish people, man. You know, when you don't hold people accountable, and that's why some people are never meant to be leaders, man.
The gift destroys the heart.
Right. You know, some are set up to be helps, and you got brothers that are helps in camps. You know what I'm saying? They're there, they're punctual, this, that, and the third, but they might not have a ranking office because, hey, through the Spirit, we see the examples. Like, nope, because that brother's not going to call it right. You know, and it's not about your feelings or whatever, it's all through the Spirit. You weren't made for that position. And a lot of times, you talk to any of the leaders, the heads of camps, none of us wanted it. Okay, brothers didn't want it. Tried time and time again to get rid of it. Like, nope. Damn. Because you know, I think most of us understand, like, you're responsible. No.
Yeah.
You know? You know, the brothers don't want, you don't want it. You know what I'm saying?
Jonah didn't want to be a prophet going to Nineveh.
Right, but you see what happens when you refuse your calling?
Right.
So you're like, damned if you do, damned if you don't?
He still got forced. He still got forced into going and being a prophet onto Nineveh, man. So it's like that with the leadership that's here in the Great Millstone, man. They wasn't going out seeking for it, trying to build it up for themselves, but the Most High forced them into that position. You know, because it's the Most High's program was.
Quick brief. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air.
Right, because we know what our reward is, man.
Right.
You know, we understand that. So when you actually got to live this talk, man. You can't just be talking it. You got to live this thing, man. Okay, so you have a certainty about what you are doing. You are 100% convinced. You know, like the scriptures say, you know, you're supposed to be persuaded in your own mind. Fully, it didn't say, you know, kind of, you're half in, half out. No, it said fully persuaded.
Verse 27. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead, Ash.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, starting at verse 6. Therefore we are always confident, knowing that whilst we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord, for we walk by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and willing, I think this is the wrong one. We are confident, I say, and willing, rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Most High. Wherefore we labor that we are present or absent, we may be accepted of Him.
Right.
Well-
Because, you know, ultimately, your actions matter. You know, so what you do is more important, you know, than what you say. And there's a parable where you had two sons.
Mm-hmm.
One said he was going to do it, and he didn't do it. And the other son said, "No, I ain't going to do it," but he did it. And which son was favored? The one that actually did it. Hmm. So there is a point and a reason. It's like, yeah, we don't want to be here, you know, because it's hell and it's constant turmoil, you know. But we understand that, look, there's a purpose, and there is some joy in being here and doing what we're doing, man. Okay, so it's that that balance, you know, that balance you got to perform, but, you know, because you're living it. You're living the talk. You're not just talking, you're actually living it, going through it.
This was the point. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Yahushua, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad.
Right. No matter what, you know, we're all going to get judged. So, hey, look, I mean, you got to do it one way or another. Like, the judgment's already predetermined, whether you know you're going to get the left hand or the right hand, right? But so you're going to do it anyway. You're predestined to either do or do not. There's no half stepping, because you're either doing it or you're not doing it.
Perfect. This is perfect scripture to go with what the brother just read. James 2 and verse 12. So speak ye and do so, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. So speak ye and do so. So walk what you talk, knowing that you're going to be judged by the law of liberty. That's right.
Yeah, because I mean, grace, the grace, the mercy, and the faith that you were given are very heavy in this matter of judgment that's coming. Because that's what's going to deliver you, your works. Your faith and your works, your mercy, grace, hope. These are the tools you really need, but you need to live those things. Okay, so you had an example where Yahushua was talking about a certain man who had a debt, and the debt was forgiven, but he wouldn't forgive it on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to that guy?
You got cast.
He got cast, right? You see what happens to the leader when, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So what more should you expect of me? We got Old Testament examples, we got New Testament examples, okay, which all correlate to a future to come. So how much more, you know, how much more are you not going to take this serious? You guys, man, time for playing games is almost over. Well, it's been over. But that door is closing, you know, inch by inch, man.
True.
Go ahead, brother.
This
Whatever
is
precepts we got, and then we're going to wrap up.
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 17. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also, being led away with the error of wickedness, fall from your own steadfastness.
Hey, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
To the point.
To the point.
This is Titus chapter 1 verse 16. It says, they profess that they know the Most High, but in works they deny Him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate.
Unto every good work a reprobate, man. So yeah, you might be teaching people they're Israelites. That's a good thing. But really, you're supposed to be teaching them about Yahushua, and you know how the salvation has come, that you're not going to have to die under the law because you can't keep the law. even when we had ability as a people to keep the law under the authority of other nations, you still didn't keep the law, man. You know, there wasn't a big enough consequence because the leaders were able to get bribed out and become wicked, man. We have more people that are for wickedness than people that are for righteousness, man. And that's why, whose blood is always shed and crying out? The innocent. Because they're overpopulated, okay, they're overpowered, the water. They're overpowered by the wicked, man. It's 2/3 of our own people, and then all the other nations. We're in a losing fight.
Us against the world.
Yeah, that's it. Man.
I made you the offscouring of the earth.
Yep.
Roughly paraphrased.
Yeah, we make this world a terrible place to this people who are living in a terrible world where we just want to make it a better place. How crazy is that?
We get looked at crazy for that.
Right. But everybody loves us at the same time. You know? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people, they just want to hang out with us or whatever. It's like, nah. They ask us for advice. You know, people randomly, you know, ask for advice and stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why do I care? But all right,
We're gonna take us out and shit, have drinks and shit. Nah, man.
Nah,
All
man.
that.
You know. But that's because we're the light at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And you got people that do recognize that. So, you know, you got to live the talk, man. You got to live the talk. Brothers, got a couple more precepts to throw out. If not, we're going to wrap it up. All right, man. Well, that's it. Through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Wadash.
Double honors to the elders and apostles, better known as the great millstone. Shalom, blessing to the elect in the 1/3. The water for those who teach the same doctrine correctly, in truth and sincerity, laboring, and death to 2/3 of you, whether you're teaching on the streets or whatever you're doing, where it friends, I don't care. Death to 2/3 of you.
Right.
Shalom.
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 Bible ball.
Ready?